What's up, guys? James here. Welcome to website redesigns nobody asked for. Today, I'm going to build a landing page for Suzanne Collins, the author of the Hunger Games series. Among other things, she actually had quite a successful career writing books and TV shows for kids before she did the Hunger Games. But her website's terrible. I'm sorry, Suzanne, if you're watching this, you're not. There's no way you'll ever see this. But if you do, no offense, but it's just bad. I mean, you're a great author, and I think a great author who is creative should have, a better looking website. So did Suzanne ask me to do this? No. Is she paying me to do this? No. Why am I doing this? Because I'm bored and I want to show you kind of, the process that a person might go through redesigning something. Now, this isn't exactly, the process I would go through, obviously, because I'm not talking to Suzanne. Normally we would sit down and there would be a lot of strategy briefing and whatnot. So there's none of that. It's just me sort of looking at her website and going, what could I do differently to maybe make this look a little bit better? And you're going to get to watch me code it. Pretty simple HTML, CSS, and just to put this landing page together. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump on in, right? All right, so what do we got? So far, nothing. We got VS Code open, that's something. And I created a file called index.html, which is empty. The first thing I'm going to do is actually get my images. So where is that tab? Here it is. No, here it is. I have too many tabs open. Shut up. I don't need you to tell me that. I know it already. So this is what we got. Like I said, just a landing page, not a whole website. And if you'd like, we can actually take a quick look at her website. Suzanne Collins. Here it is, folks. So this is what her website looks like now. This is my idea of what it could look like. As you can see, I sort of just stole the look of her book cover, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I left the Mockingjay out. I did try for about 5 seconds to incorporate that in here somewhere, but I'm not a graphic designer, so I gave up. If I was doing this for real, if Suzanne was to reach out and hire me, I would have my designer actually do this part for me. So this is my lame attempt at being a graphic designer. We just got a name, a little headline here. Again, obviously that's not the headline we would use if this is real, but I just threw it together. Same links as she has on her current website: homeworks, biography, interview. And then I just put this little logo. It's just her name. Again, would probably design her a nice logo, or I would have my designer do it. And then just this fun little line, I don't know, that points down just so people know, hey, there's more if you scroll. There isn't here because this is just a landing page, but if this was real, there would be a lot more content down here. So this is all text except for this part. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to hide everything except for this target here. And then I'm going to save this target. We'll do transparent background. And we'll just call it target. I think it's a target. I don't know, because Aberdeen's an archer, right? So I think that's kind of what her graphic designer was going for there on this book cover. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I'm calling it a target because that's what it looks like to me. The rest of this design will be just text, so I don't need to download anything from here. By the way, this is called Gravit. Not really meant for creating website layouts. It's more like a Adobe Illustrator alternative. There are better programs for creating layouts like Figma, or Adobe actually has one. I forget the name of it. Completely just blanking out right now. Gravit is still great. It's just not, this isn't exactly what it was designed for, I don't think, but it worked. But we don't need to download anything else from here because this is all text, which we will just be doing with HTML and CSS. I just needed to grab this target here. And in fact, I saved it to the wrong place. So let's do it again. Let's save it to the right place. And where do we put this? I have a folder. This is weird. There's no folder in here called James Welbus, right? But if I type it, there it is. Why, Windows? Why do you do this to me? VS Code, Suzanne. I'm going to create a folder in here. This is semi-typical-ish convention for building a simple HTML website. I'm going to have a folder called Assets. And then inside that folder, I'm going to have a folder called Image. While I'm here, I'll just go ahead and make my CSS folder. I don't think we're going to have any, but I would also, if I was doing a real project, I would have a folder for JavaScript. And I'm going to save this image here. I'm just going to call it target.png. Okay, enough of this nonsense. Let's get over to VS Code. You can see the folders we just created are there, and the image is there as well. So how do we do code stuff? Well, first things first, we do exclamation point, enter. VS Code gives us this little boilerplate stuff here. When we do that, that's pretty neat. And then let's go ahead and link up some stuff, right? Let's say link CSS. It is in a folder called assets and a folder called CSS. And this doesn't even exist yet. So let's go there and create a new file called style.css. Let's just say background red just to test it and make sure that we have linked this correctly. We have not. What did I do? Assets, CSS style. Oh, I just forgot how to do CSS for a second. Goodness gracious. Body, background, red. Let's go. There, okay, so it's working. So usually when I'm doing something like this, I start out by saying margin 0, padding 0. Again, I'm being an idiot. HTML. Let's do the whole document. I like to say document body and then just everything. I mean, just it's a little extra. This is going to target everything pretty much possible on the entire website. Padding 0, margin 0, and then box. I don't even fully know what this means. Box sizing, border box, but people do it. This just sort of resets it because for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, web browsers just put a little bit of like padding and margin or something around the whole thing. Also, a lot of elements have some basic, margin and padding built in, like H1, H2, H3, all those heading tags, paragraphs and everything like that. So I just like to reset it all to 0, and then I will decide what the padding and margin will be on everything, because that's, it's just how I roll. So, okay. What else should we do? Well, I mean, we basically only have one section here, just the hero. So let's say section, and we'll call it hero. And then inside, I'm going to shrink stuff down, and then you know what? Let's just open the file instead of opening it in the designer. Let's just put it in downloads. Suzanne. Like I might have already done that. I've already done that. Let's open it. This might be an older version of it though. Yep, doesn't have the cool little line. That's okay. It's okay. We just want to have it open for reference. There we go. Let's bring up VS Code again. All right. Now we're also not going to be doing a mobile version of this. Because it's just a landing page, and this would, it would basically look exactly the same. The only difference is this menu would go away and it'd be a little 3-line hamburger menu, but you'd still have the text centered in the middle. So this would be very easy to do mobile. It just requires some JavaScript doing the mobile menu and whatnot, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to code this basic landing page here. Oh, I hate that. VS Code, why do you do that to me? Click that stupid link that popped up. Yeah, see that? That's super annoying. We actually need to do a header. So let's go header. Inside the header, let's see, should we put everything inside a container? Yeah. Let's say .logo. We'll have a div called .logo. And then we'll have a div. Do we need a div? Nah, we don't need a div. We'll just go straight to UL. We'll say main nav. And then we'll say li dot, I don't know, menu item times 4. And then I'm not even going to bother making these links. I'm just going to type some words. Yeah, home works. You know what? Let's not be lazy. Let's not be lazy. All right, we'll just do # home. Not going to be lazy. My New Year's resolution to quit being lazy. Biography. And last but not least, interview. Okay, so we got a menu. And our logo is actually, you know what? Since this is all about her, I want to make it H1. And we're going to say Suzanne Collins. And maybe while I'm here, I'll just put in a BR here. This means line break, so the columns will go to the next line. There's probably better ways to do this, but okay. So that's our header, and then our section says, let's just call it a paragraph. It says number 1, New York Times best-selling author. That's pretty neat. And then under that, I don't know if you should even do this, but I'm going to have another H1 on the same page. I think it's okay because it's literally the exact same text, and it's the most important text on the page. This page is about Suzanne Collins. That's what we want Google to know about this page, is that it's about Suzanne Collins. Hey, if somebody does a Google search for Suzanne Collins, show them this page. That's what we're saying when we put Suzanne Collins in an H1 tag. So I'm going to do that. Typically, you wouldn't have 2 H1s on the same page. But sue me. They're the same exact text, so I'm pretty sure it's okay. And then down here, this would probably be also semi-important. Now, like I said, I wouldn't really use the headline books about kids murdering each other, even though that is literally what Hunger Games is about. I would actually make this tagline more general about the author and the kind of books that they write. So, you know, if it was Tom Clancy, you might say something like political military action author or something like that to describe. So this tagline would be semi-important. So I might give it like an H3. Just in case, like I said, if you're searching, if you're looking for books about kids murdering each other and you type that into Google search, hopefully, Google will show you Suzanne Collins' website. And if you're wondering why I'm not typing this in all caps, we'll get to that. We'll use CSS to make it all caps instead of me having to actually type it in all caps. So that's actually it, ladies and gentlemen, for the HTML. Now, what does it look like? Well, it looks like this, because we haven't done any styling yet. Styling is done with CSS. So let's hop over to our style.css. Now, I think this color is just black. We can check that. Yes, I was ordering salmon. Let's see, page color is, okay, it's actually whatever this color is. So let's just deal with that. It's kind of a almost green. It's basically black, but and I mean, we could basically just do the whole body, right? Since we're just doing this one little landing page. So let's just give the body a background of this color. And that worked. Now, most of our text is, I would say most of it is white. Yeah. And some of it is this yellow color. So I'm going to go ahead and say color white. And that will make everything white, except for the links. Let's say links color white. Okay, and then we'll change the stuff to yellow that needs to be yellow. Okay, so what do we want to do first? Let's style this header. So we have two elements inside the header. We have a div called logo, and then we have a UL, which stands for unordered list over here. And so, but they're inside a container, actually. If we remember, inside our header, we put a container. And so you can see there's a little bit of space here, and there's a little bit of space here. And ideally, you would kind of carry this width along throughout the rest of the website. You know, this is just a landing page, but so that's where container classes come in, because we can do something like this. We can say container. We'll say width, let's like say 90%, and then margin, not block, inline, auto. Okay, and then just so we can see it, I'm going to say border 1 pixel solid red. Okay, so you can see now we have a gap that's the same on the left and the right. And then, you know, if we shrink it down, because we used a percentage, it's pretty responsive, right? It's always 90% of the total width. So I'm happy with that. I think maybe it would actually be a little bit less space here. So yeah, let's make it 95%. Okay, and so then what we need to do is we want to use something called Flexbox to position our items. Flexbox is really cool CSS property that lets us do really cool things. So normally, here's what I would do. I would normally specify which container. I would say the container inside header. Why? Because I'm going to reuse this container class. I would if this was a full website, and I might not want to do the exact same stuff to each container. I would want this width 95%, and the margin inline auto is what centers it. Okay, if we take that away, it's not centered anymore. And then it's still 95%, and it's just putting the whole 5 extra percent over here. So this margin inline auto centers it. So half the space is over here, half the space is over here. So we want that to apply to every single container, but the stuff that I'm about to do, I would only want it to apply to this particular container class. So I would go header container. In this case, I don't have to because it's the only container on the page, but I'm going to do it like this because that's the right way, and it's how I would do it if this was real. So what I want to do is say display flex. Now, right away when I do that, you can notice that it takes this menu and it puts it over here on the right. Before it was underneath, right? It was stacking vertically. Now it's horizontal. And then the other thing I want to do is say justify content space between. What this is going to do is take all the extra space and put it between the elements. See that? So all the extra space, it just stuffs it in between these two elements, so they're pushed all the way to the ends. So no matter what I do, the two elements are always going to be on the far end of this container. I think at this point I can take this border off. We don't need that anymore. Okay. And then if you're wondering how do we make this horizontal like our menu here, well, what did we literally just do that made something horizontal? We gave it a display flex. So let's go ahead and say inside our header, I want to make our UL a display of flex. Boom. Horizontal. I also want to say list style none, which should get rid of the dots, the bullets. And then I want to say should be using SCSS for this. To be quite honest, I'm going to do that. Watch this magic. If I click on this and I say rename, I call it style.scss. And then I move this out of my way. And then if I come down here, and wait, there we go. Click on Watch Sass. You see it did some magic up here. It created these two files. Here's what's going on. SCSS is not a real thing. It's not something the browser knows what to do with. The browser still just wants regular old CSS. But SCSS is like a, what do they call it? Like a CSS preprocessor or something. It's basically fake CSS language that VS Code will translate into regular old CSS for us. But we can do some cool things with SCSS, okay? Like so. You see how I had to type header and then .container, and then I typed header UL, and now I want to target the LI, so I would go header UL LI, right? And then after that, I would go header UL LIA to target the links inside there, right? This gets a little repetitive. Here's what I'm going to do instead. Since I'm using SCSS, I can do this. I'm going to say header, and then I'm going to say dot container, and inside the container I had this code here, so I'm going to put that there and get rid of this. And then inside the header I also had a UL, and the UL is actually also inside the container. So really I probably should have said header container UL, but I'm just going to go ahead and come up here and go like this, UL. So you can see with SCSS you can nest things inside other things, and this just makes it so much easier and faster to write. Okay, so I can get rid of that. And when you save it, VS Code translates it like this. And see, this is exactly what I would have done. Header.container, header.container UL. Okay, it also adds some browser compatibility stuff that we don't have to do on our own manually. It just automatically does it for us. So that's what I'm going to do. And then when I want to go in and tackle the LIs, I can just go like this, LI. I don't even think I need to do anything to the LI, but I do want to do something to the A links inside the LI. I want to say, what do I want to say? Font style, is it? Font style, none. No. What am I? I'll figure that out later. I need to get rid of the underlines. Okay. That's going to bother me until I figure it out. But you want to see what real developers do? I'll show you. They Google remove underline from link. I'm going to feel like an idiot. No, I know how to change the color. Text decoration. I see I'm an idiot. Text decoration. Decoration. Decoration none. Where's my website? Where's my website? Where'd I put it? Oh, wait. It's the same tab I was just in. I just opened a new tab. There it is. Okay, underline's gone. Yay. Oh, here's one thing we should do. I'm using a font, and I think it's the same font for everything. So I'm just going to come up here and say font family league Spartan. That worked. That worked. There we go. Now, font sizes, I don't really know. You know, all I have is a JPEG. So I'm just going to guess. 16 pixels is usually a pretty good place to start for like basic paragraph text and links and whatnot. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to close style CSS because you don't want to edit the style.css file. When you start using SCSS, you want to only edit your style.scss file, and then it will automatically update your style.css for you, assuming you have the Sass extension installed right here, live Sass compiler, and then you click watch Sass like I did earlier, then it will automatically do that stuff for me. So let's say these links here, let's say font size 16 pixels. Not sure why my font went away. What did I do? But oh, I literally I did what I just said you shouldn't do. When I when I added the font family, I added it to the style.css file. And then when I saved this file, it overwrote that and it went away. So let's do this again, but the right way. Close that. Font family, League Spartan. Success, it says. League Spartan. All right. And there it is. Took a second to update, but it updated. Now I think this is a little small though. So I'm going to say, I don't know, 18. It's probably even bigger than that according to this graphic, but I'm not sure I like how big it is actually. You know what? I don't. This is the old version of it. I shrunk it down quite a bit in the new version. Save this so I can stop looking at the old version. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then where's our website? So I'm going to leave it at 18, and then to add some space in here, actually a new feature of Gap is, or not Gap, a new feature of Flex is Gap. So Gap, I don't know, 20 pixels, see what happens. That puts a gap in between there. I'm just going to leave it at 20 pixels for now. Honestly, that looks fine-ish. One thing I do want to do, though, obviously I want to get it off the top, right? It's just touching the top. Same thing with our logo over here. But if you see in our picture, we have some space up there. This logo is centered directly to the middle of this text. So what we want to do, I'm actually going to bring back that border on our header. So you can see it. Yep. Okay. So first thing is for the header. Yeah, I think I want to, oh my gosh, that stupid link again. I think I want to give the header some padding on the top and bottom. And we're going to do, so for top and bottom, that would be padding block, which I don't know if this actually works on every browser yet. It seems to be working on my browser, this inline and block, like I did right here. I think that's kind of newish and maybe doesn't work on every browser, but it seems to be working for me, so I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm going to say 50 is probably too much. I'm going to say 25 pixels. And I lost my website. Yeah, that's enough, I think, up there. But what we need to do to get this logo and these things centered vertically is say, right here we have flex, justify content. I'm going to say align. I never remember if it's items or content. We'll see. Align item center. See if that does anything. It did. All right. So now they're centered. Perfect. And this is nice and responsive, right? If I do this, obviously we would use JavaScript to turn this into a little mobile menu thingy. But it's, you know, this header is responsive. And if we use this container class throughout the rest of the website, it will continue to give us this consistent spacing on the left and the right. And then what's cool about that is you can come in, if you ever decide you want to change the, you know, you're like, you know what, I wish I had added more space. You don't have to go in and like change a whole bunch of elements on your website. All you got to do is go here to container and maybe, you know, drop this down to 85%. And then after it finally updates, you see it's scrunched in, and this will apply to every element on the website that you used that .container class. So pretty neat. I think I'll leave that there. And a lot of people I don't think even do percentages. I think what they usually do is they'll do like a width 100%, but then they'll do a max width of like 1100 pixels. And I should probably do that anyways. I'm going to say max width. I'm just going to say 1100 pixels. That way, because some people have stupid large screens, and that way, no matter how big they're able to stretch it, at some point, the content will stop. You see, the content had already stopped. So max 1100 pixels must be somewhere around here, because you can see as I keep increasing the size of the screen, this container stays the same size. It's that max width 1100 pixels. So, but I'm going to do much more than 1100 pixels since this is a 1080p screen. There's a lot of space there. What's a common 1440? I think I see that a lot. See how big that is. That's pretty decent. That's a pretty decent little container there, right? Yeah. Okay, that's enough of the header. I think we pretty much nailed the header here. I do want to say for these A's, if I go down here and I type ampersand : hover, what is our color? Let's get the actual color. It's this yellow. I want the hover color to be that. And then again, if this is a real project, I would use like JavaScript to create an active class so that when you're on the home page, it would be yellow the whole time. And then when you're on the works page, it would be yellow, not going to do that on this little tutorial that's already probably longer than it should be. We'll just stick with the hover. And then I do want to say, remember I said that there was a way to make it uppercase. Is all of our text uppercase on this whole thing? I didn't make the links uppercase, but I think I wanted to. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to just say body. I'm going to say text transform uppercase. Normally I wouldn't do that on the whole body, of course, because most of my paragraph text and whatnot, I don't want to be all caps. But for this little landing page, I do want it to be all caps. So there we go. Everything is now all caps. I might do a little, I'm just getting into the nitpicking now. I might do a little letter spacing 1 pixel. Yeah. Okay. All right. Enough with the header. Let's move on. So header ends right here. So I'm going to go section, and I'll just say .hero, even though it's the only section on the page. I'll go ahead and target it correctly. I will say the height, I want it to be 100 viewport height. What does that mean? Basically means whatever the viewport height is, however high your screen is, that's how high I want the section to be. And just to prove it, I'm going to say background red. Wait for it. There it is. Now, problem, you'll notice that it seems to be more than 100%, because if I scroll down, it's still red. Still red, still red, still red, still red. That's because, so my viewport height right now is from, if you can see my mouse, it's from all the way up here to all the way down here. So that is how high this red section is. But because the header's here, you have to scroll down to see the whole rest of the section. And that's not what I want. So what I usually like to do in this, I mean, there's a couple different ways you can get around this, especially if you want this header to stick at the top when you scroll. So you'd probably use position of fixed. at the top, or maybe position sticky. I'm not going to do that. But what I will do is I'm going to say, remember when I said that we were done with the header? I lied to you. Let's say height, like 10 VH. See what that does. Okay. 12 VH. That's good enough. So if the height of this is 12 VH, then what I'm going to do for the height of the section is, instead of 100, I'm going to do 100 minus 12, which is 88 VH. There we go. Now the scroll bar went away. So our section is, between our section and our header, it's taking up 100% of our total height here. Like I said, I might not do it that way exactly if this is real. If I had more content down there to scroll to, and I almost always make my header sticky at the top. So in that case, what I would probably do, don't even worry about it. Who cares what I would do? Let's move on. I'm going to put this in a container again, even though, just for convention's sake, even though our width is going to be much smaller than that width. So you can see it as right away, it went ahead and put this content inside our little template width that we came up with before. But what we actually want is for this to be basically, I think, pretty much right in the middle. Yeah, we're just going to call it right in the middle horizontally, right in the middle vertically. So really cool, easy way to do that is I will put all of it inside of a div. I'm going to say, what do we call it? Hero content, whatever, doesn't matter. Call it something. I'm going to put all this stuff inside there. Why? Because I'm going to give this container class a display of flex. And when you do that, it affects the direct children. And so this will be the only direct children. Only direct children. This will be the only direct child of container. These are all grandchildren, so these will not be affected by putting flex on the container. And we'll see why that's important. So we'll come here and we're going to go .container display, and I'm actually going to say grid instead of flex. Why? Because it's one less line of code to do what I want. I'm going to say place items center. Place content center. No. Come on, Welbus, you can do that. Stop. Okay, so it was definitely place items. But why is it not centering vertically? It should be centering this hero content div. It should be centering it vertically and horizontally. What the heck? What if we say, what did I call that? Hero content. Okay. Don't know why that's not working. So let's do it. Let's do it with flex. And then, so I swear this is supposed to work. I've done it before. It's just 2 lines of code. Display grid, place item center, place, hold on. Display grid, place items, place items. No, I don't know. That's supposed to work. I'm doing something wrong. So let's do flex, and then we say justify content center and align items center. Okay. This is not working. Did I call it hero section? Section class hero. Container, did I spell that right? Section dot hero container. Inspect this bad boy. What do we got? Ugh, get this out of here. Container flex. Da, 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 da. Justify content center. Yes. Okay. Does the container need a height? Oh my gosh, the container apparently needs a height. I didn't think it would. But it does. I'm an idiot. Duh. Okay. Height, 100%. Okay, so then we can go back and do this the easy way. So like I said, this is 3 lines of code, but if we do grid, then it's just 2 lines of code to do the same thing, to center something horizontally and vertically, right smack dab in the middle. We do want to center all that text, so let's just say, can I do that? Can I just do asterisks in there? Or would I need to do ampersand asterisks? No. I don't know. This will work in SCSS. Do not use empty rule sets. It's not going to be empty in a second. Text align center. It worked. Okay. Now, got itty bitty little text, big old text, medium sized text. If we compare it to this, you know, this is even smaller than that. So let's say hero content, that's a paragraph. We'll say font size, I'm going to say like 14 pixels, and that might even be too big, to be honest. You know, I'm going to leave that. 14 pixels. And then the big one, the H1, is going to be font size like 45 pixels or something. Okay, bigger than that even. Let's like say 65. And normally I probably wouldn't even use pixels. I would be using rem units. Google it. It's the future. This kind of looks okay, to be honest. I do need some spacing and whatnot, but and then this needs to be yellow, and I'm going to shrink it a little bit so that we get 2 lines. Here's a fun trick. If you inspect something, you can play around with it before you add code. So let's say let's click this plus sign. It's going to target this H3. If I say width 200 pixels, that's, if I say 300 pixels, I want murdering to go to the next line. So I'm just going to keep hitting this down key until, okay. So I'm going to say max width for this H3, 260 pixels. Did I say 260? And then also color, can do this. Save it. I'm going to get rid of this red background. We don't need that anymore. Okay. And since I messed with the width, now I also need to say margin inline auto, I think. Again, yep, that'll work. We can close that now. I'm just going to make up some spaces here. Let's give this like 25. I'm going to say margin bottom of 25 pixels. And then I'm going to give this H3 a margin top of just 25 pixels. Do the same thing. See what that looks like. That's a little better, but I don't think it should be, I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. The point of this is not to make it look perfect. It's just to show you how to do stuff, right? So you could go in there and finagle stuff, play around with these margins until you get it looking just right. You might even want to play around with the line height there of this H3. So if I say line height of like 30 pixels, see, it just spaces it out a little bit. I might go less than that, but like I said, just play around with it yourself when you're doing these things to get it to look the way you want. I think the last thing, well, not the last thing, we need to do the background here. And then we'll do this little dotted line thingy with a triangle at the bottom, the arrow. And okay, so we got the image already. So there's definitely different ways you can go about throwing a background image there. I'm just going to go the simple way, I think, and just say section hero, background image, URL, assets. Oh, because we're in the CSS file, we have to go out of it. So // and then now we're so since we're in the CSS file, we're actually in the folder. We need to come out of this. That's what this // means. It means go up one level. So one level up from CSS is assets, and then we need to go inside the image folder. So we'll say image and then target.png. And whoops, it's probably not going to look great. Okay, I mean, honestly, it doesn't look terrible. And this is where we're going to play around first. So section, background image, background repeat, no repeat, background size cover. No, I think actually we want contain. So let's try it. Background size contain. And then background repeat, no repeat. I don't know why that would be off-centered like that. My computer is struggling to handle everything that's going on right now. Hopefully that didn't get too weird there. Center background, CSS. I don't know why it's not position in the center. Background position. Okay, easy enough. It works. It worked. I kind of feel like everything in here does need to be bigger though. Honestly, let's do like 85 for her name. And then I'm going to say 16 for that part. And I'm actually going to leave the rest. Yeah. I don't know. The spacing is bothering me. It's too much. Now, this will be fun. We're going to make this right here. So, also I want to center that text up there. Also, index, where's our logo? Suzanne. Span. Okay, so up here in the header container, inside container, we have a div called .logo. Inside .logo, we have the h1. And I'm going inside that. Well, first I'm going to say text align center. Hopefully that will, yep. And then the span, I'm going to say font weight. I'm going to start with 100. Yep. See, now it's kind of skinnier. So that just looks like more like our drawing here. Now for this line, this is the tricky part here, okay? Especially because it's centered with the logo, which would be really hard to make sure that it's like that. So here's what. What do I want to do? Okay. I think I'm going to start by going to the HTML. And I'm going to put a div. I'm just going to call it dotted. I'm going to call it dotted. I'm going to save that. And then inside that, actually, I want to put that inside. Stop it with that pop-up. Container, but also how do I want to do this, y'all? I just want to put it in the header. Do I want to make it a pseudo element? No. All right. A container. Dotted inner. That's how I'm going to do this for now. Okay. So after header, I'm going to say dotted. Is that what I called it? Width 100 viewport width. And then the dot container already has the width of 85% with a max width of 1440. So it should match our header container, which is good. And then, okay, I want to give this, for now, border, just so we can see it. And then for now, I'm also going to give it a height of 50 pixels, otherwise we won't be able to see it. There it is. Okay, and then if I was to say, okay, so then here's what we need to do. We need to define a width for this logo so that we can define the same width down here, and then we can use that to center things. So if I inspect this and I say border 1 pixel solid yellow, I'm going to say width. What does 500 pixels look like? Too much. So oh, but here's the problem. Oh, I don't want to. Okay, I don't want to do it to the actual H1. I want to do it to the logo div that it's inside. And width, what was it, about 200. And if you know what, if we say display flex, what does that do? Okay, perfect. That keeps it to the left, and the text still remains centered, but it keeps the H1 to the far left of the logo box, which means it doesn't matter how wide our logo box is. Well, that's not going to work either, because we need that text. Okay. We just got to figure out exactly how wide this is without, there we go. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say display flex, but I'm going to say justify content center. That way, no matter what's going on, everything, it'll be centered. Even if it screws up our spacing on the left here a little bit, hopefully it won't be noticeable. It's more important that our dotted line be centered with this logo. So 130 pixels looks good for that. I'm just going to copy all this except for the border. Hopefully this makes sense what I'm doing. It will, at least later. Let's format this document. Oh, okay. Okay. And then, so here's the thing. If we, so we have this dotted with a container, and then we have this dotted inner. So I think I want to say container display. Well, no, maybe it should be to the left anyways. Dot inner. What was it? Dotted inner or inner dotted inner. First of all, let's just say border, or what's the width? We came up with 130 pixels. Border 1 pixel solid yellow. It's not quite. Okay, get rid of this. Okay, it's not quite centered. It's not quite centered with that. Why is my question? So the logo, which is inside the container, and then we have this dotted, and then there's a container inside there, which should be the same. And then inside that is dotted inner. Dotted inner is 130 pixels. Logo is 130 pixels. It's very strange. It's very strange. Is it the flex screwing it up? No. container. Container. What if we say display flex? No, that doesn't help. This is not making any sense to me as to why these aren't centered. I took all the padding and margins away. They're both inside a container class that is supposed to be 140 pixels wide, max width, and it is huh. What if I delete that? Oh, it doesn't change the position of that at all. Okay then. That is weird. But I'm just gonna roll with it. So here was my plan. Okay. I was gonna go like this. X percent. So I was gonna move that over 50%, which if it was the same width and lined up the same as this logo, it should put this left border right in the center. That was my theory. I just don't understand why these two containers aren't. Wait a minute. Okay, that's not it. Is it because... Wait, no. So it's not inside the header. Container. Yeah, that is so weird. There's no reason in my mind for why these two containers don't line up. I'm just going to pretend they do. This is a little bit fancy CSS anyways, so there's bound to be some issues, but let's go back to the code. So dotted inner border left, dashed, and white. And then transform, translate X, cent. And height 100%. And transform, translate, height, pixels. Oh, why is 100% not working? Oh, because it's in a container which doesn't have a height. Okay then. So we'll give the dotted inner a height itself. And why is width crossed out? Oh, because I did that. There we go. So it's almost in the center. Jeez Louise. I guess if I I can get it closer if I just fudge with that. But I mean, 50% should put it right in the middle. And then the idea was that so it would match, which looks like it still does. It stays responsive, so that's good at least. Okay, that's good. 130 height, 100 viewport height. We actually don't want it to be that high. Let's start with 80, and then I also want it to be probably more like 5 pixels. Yeah, 80. What did I do? 800. Oh yeah, 80. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And then what did I make this like 47% or something? And I think I'm going to take this down to 4 pixels. Keep going, maybe 45% was it? Well, 44%. And then now we're scrolling, and that's because we added this extra element up here. Gave it a height of 50 pixels, which I don't think I need to do. Okay. And then, yeah, okay, so what I need to do is make dotted position absolute left 0. And then I'm probably going to have to bring it down as well. No, I don't. I don't have to do that. So position, when you give something position absolute, what it does is it basically rips it out of the layout, so everything goes back to where it was before you added that element, and then it sort of plops the element back on top without affecting the rest of the element of the elements on the page. So we took this blue border box here, ripped it out, so things went back, and there's no more scrolling anymore. And then it put it back on, and I put left 0. So that means that it's all the way to the left. If I wanted to, I could say left 50 pixels, and then it moved over. So position absolute is pretty cool. You can do some cool stuff with that to get things positioned exactly where you want them. Okay, and then I'm going to take this blue border away. Okay, I'm going to take that red border away. We're getting pretty close here, y'all. We're going to do a tricky little CSS thing to make a triangle. I actually want to move this up a little bit, I think. I'm worried, though, so it's placing it there because that's where it is in the HTML. It's right after the header. But I'm worried. I think if well, let's just do a transform translate again. Transform translate Y. That means the Y-axis up and down. I'm going to say negative like 15 pixels because I just want to move it up a little bit. Yeah, see? Perfect. Okay, and then down here, now this is where, okay, now I have to think about this. And again, I'm going to give dotted a border. What did I do? There we go. Okay, and so, gosh, what I wanted, I think, what happens if I do this? Let's say, okay, get rid of that. After our dotted div, I'm going to say dot arrow. And then just for now, let's see, after dotted, come on here, dot arrow, width 50 pixels, height 50 pixels, background white. Where does that put it? Not where I wanted it. Okay. Okay. All right. What if? Okay, so dotted inner is what has a height of 80. Oh yes, and this is absolute. What if I put this inside dotted? Even maybe inside dotted inner. Where does it go now? Okay. And then if I say position absolute, where does it go now? All right. I'm going to play around here first with this. I'm going to say bottom 0. Yes, that's better. And then I'm actually going to say minus 50 pixels. Or no. Bottom 0. And then transform, translate Y again, 100%. So 100% of its own height. Dang it. Lost it. Okay, there we go. And then transform, translate on the x-axis, minus 50%. I can't do that. I have to do it all in one line. Oh my gosh. Translate Y, 100%. I always forget how to do this. Is it comma minus 50%? No. Is it just, it's just that? Nope. Transform, translate. There's got to be a comma. Once again. Transform, translate. CSS. It is a comma. It's just transform, translate. First value, second value. So what am I doing wrong here? Background white. Oh no, I had it open here. Transform, translate, 100%, 50%. Invalid property value. That can't be right. That's incorrect. 100% minus 50%. And why can't I do it in 2 lines? I don't get that either. All right. Let's do, first of all, let's give it bottom 0. Try it just in the actual code. Transform, translate, minus, no, 100%, minus 50%. Ugh. Ugh, ugh, ugh. Well, it's not crossing it out anymore. Oh, I think I did it wrong. So first one is minus 50%. I don't know why this wasn't working before, though. That's weird. Must have just been a stupid typo. There we go. That's what I want. Except I probably want it even more. I want a little bit of a space. And then for some reason, it's still not centered perfectly. Oh, this stuff normally works just fine. Using 50% on everything to center stuff and whatnot. But we're going to call it this. Ay, ay, ay. And then this is where it gets fun. If I can find the code that I need. Here it is. All right. So I think instead of doing this stuff, we're going to do this. And instead of red, we want white. See how badly I screw this up. Pretty badly. Oh, zeros is black. Dummy. I want white. Ah, look at that. That's an arrow. I did it. This is cool. So if you give the border left and right 20 pixels and top 20 pixels, but you give the border bottom 0. Oh no, you don't declare a border bottom. Because reasons, it makes a triangle. You can make different triangles. You know, if you want it to be a right arrow, you would do top, bottom, and left. So let's do this. Bottom. Now it's well, it's like an up and to the right arrow. There's different things you can do there, right? But I had to Google that. Why isn't it working? Oh yeah, because I need to change it to white. And then what happens if first of all, I think I want to make this, give it more of a gap there. So I'm going to say like 175% here. And then I want to see what happens if I increase these borders. Yeah, if I say like 30 for all of them. Yeah, that's better. And that gap's a little too much. Maybe 170. Maybe 165. Yeah, so I'm going to change these to 30 and make that 165. And then I think we're basically done. Whoops. 30. 30. And 65. Yeah. That's pretty neat. Got a little hover going on up here. There's nothing cool happening. There's no fancy, transitions or anything. But I think this whole mess was pretty tricky. But I think if I can find my edge here, I think it should be responsive. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty cool. It stays centered. I don't know what's causing my weird alignment issue and making it so 50% wasn't working. But whatever, it looks pretty cool. And then, I don't know what I would do with this on mobile. It's already pretty good on mobile. I don't always like, I like these kind of layouts, just sort of a big bunch of text in the middle. It looks fine on desktop, but then on mobile, it's like you got all this extra space up here. You got all this space here. What I'd probably do on mobile is just remove a lot of this space, because remember, normally there would be more content below. And so I would probably just push this up and just let the other content start, show up on the above the fold, as you call it, on mobile. I don't know. Who knows what I would do? Those are things you got to brainstorm. That's up for the designer to figure out, right? They design it and then I just make it happen. Okay. Anyways, I don't know. I hope that was fun for you. It was fun for me. It took a while. I don't know, an hour or something. I think my dinner might be ready. So good timing on that. Hey, if you liked this and want to see more random website redesigns nobody asked for, let me know and I will do it. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.